Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be doing some more shorter-term analysis on Bitcoin because, guys, as we talked about in yesterday's video, Bitcoin has been trading sideways now for almost a month and a half. And that is not a good thing because Bitcoin was in a very strong uptrend even in the face of the major pandemic and global recession that we are entering right now. But unfortunately, Bitcoin was unable to really do anything with that upwards momentum. We were unable to break $10,000. We were unable to break the long-term downtrending level of resistance that we have been looking at, and that has been in effect for the last 3 years. So therefore, guys, we need to take a very serious look at what Bitcoin is doing right now and where Bitcoin is going right now. There's a strong argument to be made that Bitcoin is running out of steam and that Bitcoin is about to fall over. In fact, we're sitting on top of some very, very important support levels. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down all of that and more, and I'm going to be giving you my take on where I think Bitcoin is going, and I'm going to show you guys how to trade a break to the upside or a break to the downside, because I do think that volatility is returning to Bitcoin relatively soon. Guys, if you do enjoy today's video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below. It greatly helps out the channel when you do that. I'd be very appreciative if you did. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, when Bitcoin trades sideways, there is a question that people always ask. Is Bitcoin bullish or is Bitcoin bearish right now? Because when you're trading sideways, you can't really tell. It may be that the bulls are very strong, but the bears are just somehow managing to hold them down. Or it might be that the bears are very strong, but somehow the bulls are managing to prop us up. Which is it is a very important question that helps us to understand where Bitcoin is heading. So let's jump onto the chart and try and decipher that. Well, guys, the first thing we have to do here is we have to understand that all of this drawing I have on my chart is a little bit distracting, and it's hard to see what's actually going on. It's hard to see the forest for the trees when we have all of that clutter. So on a clean chart, what we see here is that Bitcoin was obviously rallying to the upside in a quite substantial way. You would have expected Bitcoin to do that, considering we jumped off the metaphorical cliff in response to the news virus, as I started calling it a little while ago. But ever since then, we can quite clearly see that Bitcoin has more or less gone into some kind of triangle pattern. We can debate whether or not this is a rising trading channel or an ascending triangle pattern or, I don't know, a apple pie, whatever it is. The point is that this is some kind of flagging pattern, and Bitcoin was bullish moving into it. That is what's really important here. The reason I'm saying this is because in a vacuum, not regarding anything else, what Bitcoin is doing right now, this sideways trading, actually makes a lot of sense. We've been talking for the last 2 to 3 months that Bitcoin needs to consolidate and lock in gains. This is exactly what I was talking about. I want to see Bitcoin trade sideways. I want to see Bitcoin maybe have a little bit of a correction. I want to see Bitcoin reset that 50 RSI back to where it needs to be. And luckily, that is exactly what is happening. Bitcoin is trading sideways. Bitcoin is resetting the RSI. Bitcoin is calming down on the TD sequential. Bitcoin is having some red candlesticks on the weekly chart. All good things, actually, even though you might not think they are. So if Bitcoin trading sideways here is a good thing, then why the title of this being potentially a bad thing? Well, guys, the main reason that I'm concerned about this market is not because we're trading sideways. In fact, it's extremely remarkably healthy for Bitcoin to trade sideways in such a manner. What is, however, concerning is the fact that Bitcoin is sitting right on top of these trend lines and we're not having any short-term volatility because, guys, as you know, short-term movements eventually will grow and manifest into larger-term movements. Every single movement that shows up on the weekly chart at one point was only visible on the 1-second chart. I'm not concerned with this greater pattern. Everything up until right around I left for Tennessee, all of this I was very happy with. I'm not very happy with what happened while I was gone. Because as you guys can see, Bitcoin has lost a lot of volatility. The Bollinger Bands are showing that. They've been constricting on themselves for weeks now. Volume has come down and dropped off to next to nothing. Look at these volume candles. They don't even exist anymore. They're gone. If we look at Google search trends for Bitcoin worldwide, we can see that Bitcoin was having a resurgence in search volume in mid-May, but ever since then, it has been trailing off week after week after week. So guys, I'm telling you, I'm not concerned about Bitcoin trading sideways. I am, however, concerned that Bitcoin has not had a bounce at these levels. I'm concerned that volume's dropping off, volatility is dropping off, retail interest is dropping off. There's not a lot of interesting news going on in the space right now, and in fact, even though the news virus wasn't having that big of an impact on Bitcoin, that might be catching up with us now. Because the news virus, or corona, or rona, or whatever you guys are calling it now, is an elephant in the room, and even if you're not paying attention to it, it is going to have impacts because it's having such a major impact on the entire global economy. At the end of the day, the fact of the matter is this: Bitcoin is losing volatility, Bitcoin is losing volume, Bitcoin is losing interest, and that is a threat to Bitcoin's continued health and growth. Sideways trading is a fantastic way of locking in gains without starting a new downtrend, but the problem is when that sideways trading drags on for too long and people start believing that Bitcoin is done moving to the upside, because Bitcoin is done moving to the upside, and at least has been since the beginning of May. So friends, we needed to correct. We needed Bitcoin to lock in gains. We needed Bitcoin to consolidate around 50 on the weekly chart on the RSI and pull back on the daily chart to around 50. All of that is very healthy. The problem is that we finished all of those objectives a month ago, so we don't need to be trading sideways anymore. At this point, we've been trading sideways long enough. We need to have a break to the upside desperately, or we're not going to have one at all. So am I coming to you to scare you? Am I coming to you to freak you out? Am I coming to you to do anything? No. The reason that I am saying all of this is not to freak you out. I'm not trying to spread FUD. I'm not trying to scare you. What I am trying to do, however, is get you prepared for a trade that may be coming relatively soon. Bitcoin seems to me like it's about to break bearish in the next 7 to 14 days. I don't know when it's going to happen. Bitcoin has been rather fickle lately, if I can speak. But the fact of the matter is, the fundamentals that were driving Bitcoin before all of this, the crashing stock market, the crashing oil market, interest going from a dire situation in the global economy to Bitcoin, all of that interest that was moving from stocks and commodities and ETFs and index funds and everything to Bitcoin, a lot of that's drying up because the stock market is recovering. You can argue all day about whether or not that recovery will continue. Historically, after a pandemic, normally 3 to 6 months later, the market has recovered. I know this is bigger and badder, but at the same time, you have to look at history. Bitcoin no longer has the spotlight on it that it did a month and a half ago when it was making massive gains in the light of something so terrible happening in the real world. The point I'm trying to make here is that the rocket fuel is dried up. We've burned through our reserves, and Bitcoin is now sitting up here, and we have to try and stay up here. I don't think that Bitcoin is very overextended. I don't think that Bitcoin should be trading at $6,000. I don't think that Bitcoin needs to go down to $7,000, but I could very easily see a correction down to at least $9,000 to $8,000, somewhere in that territory. And it's very obvious where that will happen, guys. There are two uptrending levels of support right now. We're sitting above the bottom one because we already broke the top one. As you can see, we were sitting above it, fell, and now we're testing the one below it. In the next couple of days, it's very possible that we break this uptrending level of support right there on the log chart, and Bitcoin heads to the downside. When or if that happens, you have a trade opportunity. This is something we talk about in CT2A as a risk-to-reward ratio. This is a very important part of trading. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'd set up a trade like this. You're going to want to go over here to the left of your screen. It's about right here. Grab this tool, get a short position out, and have it up on your chart like this. Think about your entry price. You're going to want your entry price to be lower than the most recent low so that you're being able to be confident in your trade. You're going to look for volume, a volume candle like this one or like this one. You're going to enter the position after we've broken the uptrending level of support and after you're seeing a lot of volatility on the shorter term time frames. One way you could do this is by looking at the Bollinger Bands on the hourly chart. When they start widening down there, that's when you know volatility is coming back. That volatility and that downwards movement and that increase in volume is breakout confirmation. An entry position for this would probably be somewhere just a little over $9,000. Your stop loss is obviously going to be pretty tight because if Bitcoin gets back up above and breaks above that uptrending level of support, which would then be resistance, then you can trigger your stop loss. And the price target is totally up to you. I'd probably put it somewhere around $8,200, but I'm pulling things out of my hat pretty much considering based off of this low back over here. Set up a trade like that, you've already got 2.5 risk-to-reward ratio. You use some leverage in there, you can make 10, 15, 20, 30, 40%. Make sure you're using a trailing stop loss as well. That's very important. That is not financial advice. That's just how I would set up the trade. I know you guys get value out of that because you love it when I tell you that, so that is how I would set up a short in this situation. As I said, watch for confirmation. It's easy to get screwed in positions like these, so be careful. But that is only if Bitcoin breaks to the downside, because there's definitely a possibility that Bitcoin continues to rally here. I'm just not feeling it, guys. You guys ask for my gut feeling a lot. I'm going to tell you, my intuition is telling me Bitcoin does not look very healthy right now. Bitcoin's looking lethargic. Bitcoin is looking stagnant, and that is never conducive to uptrending movement. Perhaps Bitcoin trades sideways for another 6 months and we don't even get a trade. But I will be honest with you, I think we're going to have something come back. I think we're going to have some fireworks. The 4th of July is coming up after all. But guys, I want to hear your take on this in the comment section down below. Do you think Bitcoin is going to trend to the downside? In the shorter term time frames, we are in a downtrend. Ever since the beginning of June, we have had consecutive lower highs and lower lows, and Bitcoin is now testing important levels of support after rejecting from important levels of resistance. Technically speaking and fundamentally speaking, Bitcoin is bearish in the short to slightly medium term. At the same time, the long term is very bullish. The health of Bitcoin has never been greater. Bitcoin is looking fabulous for the long term. If Bitcoin crashes, I'm going to be buying more and more and more and more and more, in the same way that people were buying the bottom at $4,000 on Bitcoin recently and the bottom on the SPY and the DJI and all of the other stock indices and made millions. Guys, corrections are not a time to freak out. Corrections are not a time to be scared. Corrections are not a time to FOMO or FOBO FUD. They are a time to invest. They are a time to buy. They are a time to build a portfolio now so you can sell it 10 years from now and be sitting on money that you can use to better your life and the lives of those around you. Do not get emotional in these markets. There's no reason to. If you have done your research, you will understand what is going to happen to Bitcoin, and you will understand that your emotions will do nothing but shoot you in the foot when you're least expecting it. And guys, I want to give you one short piece of life advice here at the end of the video, and that is this. Be careful of spending so much time looking at Bitcoin. It's very easy to get caught up in the charts. It's very easy to, look at Bitcoin all day and let it consume you and let it be the only thing you do. Let yourself sit on exchange for 12 hours, maybe in a Discord server for the other 4 of that day that you're awake. It's easy to let Bitcoin and the prospect of having a lot of money change your life in a bad way, in a way that consumes you. But let me tell you something. Having a lot of money isn't going to make you any happier. It's going to get rid of the things that make you unhappy, and that is an important thing to strive for. But there's a lot more to life than having 10 Bitcoin in your wallet. There's a lot more to life than having 100 grand in the bank. Let me tell you something. Today's Father's Day. If you have a father, go enjoy it with them. If you are a father, go enjoy it with your child. If you don't have a father, I know there's someone out there that could use one, so try and be one to them. Don't forget to live your life, because we get so caught up in trying to make sure that we have the resources to live our life that we forget that we already have the resources to live our best life. It's not about money. You can live a great, fantastic, fulfilling, enriching life on pittance. But so many people are caught up thinking that they have to be millionaires to enjoy what's sitting in front of them, which is the beautiful world we inhabit. So I'm warning you, be careful of being too caught up in what Bitcoin is doing that you forget to pay attention to how to enjoy the life that you're trying to build that you actually already have. Anyway, guys, that's just what I've been thinking about lately. I've been doing a lot of research on the Appalachian Trail, which is what this shirt is. And guys, I absolutely love the Smoky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountain Range. I love it up there. It's so gorgeous. I'm thinking I might actually want to hike the AT, and that is going to be a huge undertaking. I don't know what would happen with this channel while I was gone. Probably wouldn't be until at least 2022 if I were to do that, but it's something I'm thinking about. Tell me what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. Have any of you ever hiked the AT? I'd love to hear that. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it out for today's video. Great things are coming to the channel. Great things are coming to crypto. Great things are coming to your life if you keep working for it. But don't forget to enjoy it while you have it, because you won't always have it. Anyway, guys, as always, before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.